All right, guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. My name is OMONDI Juma or Yaba Forbes. I'm joined by Barth. I'm joined by Mr. B, and we are going to break down, do something that Liverpool can do. We're going to break down what happened today. 0-0 at Anfield and retribution. Hi everyone, Man United Agenda. Yes, it's 0-0 at Anfield, and everyone going into the game was talking about we're going to lose. We can lose by a few goals. We can lose by 5 goals. Some people said, didn't they, Mr. B? Bath time. What did you think before the game? What did you say? Score prediction.
I can't remember, but I got in drunk from a party last night and spoke to Mr. B and changed my mind to 3-0 United. He seduced and gaslit me into thinking that we were going to do really well. It's this new positive, Mr. B.
And Mr. B, wonderful watch along once again. You're coming off fresh from the game. Probably all talked out, but I mean, you must be impressed because you did look good before the game for you. You were sort of a bit worried you might get a pasting again.
Yeah, I know. And then so that was yesterday. This morning I got up. I was confident this morning. I don't know what it was though. You can't be confident that you go into Anfield, but I think the fact that he was forced to play the players in the positions that he had to play them in, I'm hoping that moving forward, that's a blueprint for him to use. Whether or not he does, maybe he just plays it for one game, fine. But obviously, we're here to discuss how the game went and, obviously what we thought they did and didn't do, and the players who surprised us with their lack of ability and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll get stuck into it today.
Lot to talk about today. I mean, I hope you guys in the comments can ask some questions as well, because I've got a little section. I want you guys to ask us some questions and talk about how and why we managed not to concede a hatful of goals. Remember, it was 5-0 and there was a 7-0. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, about what changed today. Was it a mentality thing? Was it a structure? Was it a shape? Was it just what was the motivation to sort of hold out and keep that concentration? Bath, I remember last season we went to half time doing okay, and then we scored a goal late in the first half, and then after that they just caned us, didn't they? So concentration levels were on point today all the way. No,
I felt we lost concentration towards the end with Rashford and Delo like getting a bit too emotional. Hannibal as well did something a bit silly in the corner. But I don't think you can look, an away point at Anfield, no matter how good or bad the Liverpool team is always a good point for Manchester United. Like, I'm delighted with the result, and there are aspects of the performance that disappointed me and some that delighted me. But all in all, I'm a very happy bunny this afternoon.
Yeah. How you feeling, Matthew Bassett in the house? You must be skinning teeth as well. Big up to UK Strange and big up to Rajiji as well. I said, yo, peeps. How everyone, I got it right. First draw, what I win. What do you win? You win respect from me for calling that. Well done. And big up to Big G as well. So good evening, fellas. Press the like button, guys. Any questions you want to ask, or we're going to have a discussion about why, what happened, what was the difference maker today? Rajiji saying it was 2-2, last minute goal, but hey, doesn't matter. But 0-0 is more significant, I think, than the score draw for me. And we're going to get into it now. We're talking about the performance. Obviously, let's start with the lineup. Obviously, there was issues. The reason why everyone was so pessimistic was because of the injury list and the amount of top players missing. So what did you think about the lineup? Because obviously we did the solo 11 the other day. Talk us through this, guys. We'll start from the defence, because with the options we had available, there was a young guy in the subs bench today I've never seen before, or I still didn't see his face, but he was on the bench from the academy or youth, from the under 18s or something.
Was that the number 53? Kawam.
Yeah. That's the guy. So he was on the bench for the first time today. Shows how weak we are in defence, player wise. So what do you think about the starting lineup, guys? What does this mean to start with these players? Were we forced into it, or was this part of the plan?
I mean, I was like, this is the sort of lineup that I thought we would get. But when they set up on the team, I was pretty shocked to see Rafa Varane playing at left centre back. Like all season, we've heard how he can't play there, and then he slots in at left centre back and was one of the front runners for the best performer on the pitch.
What's the, sorry, Barton, why left centre back? What's the issue there? Is it because he's not left-footed?
Yeah, it's you play like you want a left footer at left centre back to open the pitch. So if you have a left footer at left and a right footer at right, because of how comfortable they are on the ball and the passing angles, it widens the pitch. That gives you a better build-up shape. And like I saw something the other day that said last season Varane used his left and right foot almost equally. He was by far the most two-footed player in the Premier League. So I don't know what Ten Hag was up to, but I was really shocked to see him at left centre back after being told by Ten Hag City that he couldn't play there.
Mr. B, we've got a lot of questions coming in, and shall we just go through some questions and answer them quickly, because there's a few sort of doubts out here about what happened today. Do you want to do that, guys, quickly while we've got the team sheet up? Mr. B, Ben expected. We got a point at Anfield. Obviously, we touched on that earlier on. Good defensive standards. Good defence, but the standards are in the bin. Some people saying it's a United win for 0-0. Going to come down here. Just want to touch on this one, which is I knew this would come up. The only reason we've got a draw is because Liverpool are rubbish.
They've won 11 at home. They've won 11 out of 11 at home. I mean, maybe if you look at it game by game, they're not as good as maybe their stats prove. But then does that mean we're not as bad as our stats prove? You know, you can't have the argument both ways. We think we've been poor this season, and Liverpool fans are raving. You know, if they'd won this, they would have gone top of the league today. So, you know, let's try and keep things in. You know, keep things in a little bit of check. Liverpool, I don't think Liverpool are bad, but we just didn't let them play. And a little bit further in the show, obviously, Bath Time, our PDF guy, has got a little something that'll prove what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Bath Time, I want to go through some comments so we can just see the feel here. Given how bad we've been this season, as a positive result. That's from Matthew Bassett. Varane, Dalot, Evans and Kobe played the best part of football, and maybe even Anthony played a decent game as well. So a bit of retribution for Anthony. Some people saying he played all right. DK Wilson's not around too long, so big up DK Wilson. Thanks for tuning in. So just wanted to drop in and say hello. Great game. Eric Ten Hag did what he had to do. Is that what the most important thing here? The team had to do what they had to do. Compact discipline for the most part. Really good outcome. Parking the bus, says Eddie. Looks like that was the plan he's saying here. Sometimes you have to do that when you're up against stronger opposition. Rajiji saying, do you not think playing with two strikers would benefit us more than one? I think, Mr. B, that's your subject. George is saying here, I tell you, it was absolutely SHIT. McTominay, he said today. We'll get on to that because some people might have different opinion about that. About half the players were great. The other half were terrible. I kind of agree with that. Amrabat, as I said before, we got robbed even getting him on loan. George Kyle. I think a couple of us in the comments will agree on that. Yeah, guys, there's some great comments coming through. Saw a comment on Twitter saying that he runs his coins in his pocket. That's Amrabat, isn't it? That's got to be Amrabat. For sure. Big G saying here, if United stick with Eric Ten Hag, we need a whole new midfield, 2 wingers and 3 defenders as well. Big up, we deserve better. With half our squad out, our form's awful. A point is good. People expecting 5-0. I saw some fight today. So a lot of comments here. Saw some fight. Liverpool played poor. Amrabat getting cussed out. So is McTominay. Maybe we should play with 2 strikers. You know, we parked the bus. People are saying Eric Ten Hag deserves a bit of credit because he went with a formation to sort of against a stronger team, and it worked out well. So there's so many comments there, guys. Can we touch on a few?
Yep, there we go.
Which ones do you want to touch on?
Well, any random. Just pick anything that came to mind there. There's something that came out.
Well, I suppose you should probably start with, you know, if United were good defensively or Liverpool were poor. I think that everyone would agree that Liverpool ran out of ideas about halfway through the match, and they started taking silly shots from silly angles. Like we played in pretty deep, and what we did really well is we got on their pivot players up the pitch. So McTominay was on Endo for most of the game, and he wasn't able to get involved. And then when they got Trent on, we began to have more problems. But we also, because they didn't have as many in the pitch, we were able to start finally creating chances. And Klopp knew he made a whoopsie and had to get more men back in the middle of the pitch. So I felt what we did really well, and what we don't really see from United a lot this season, is we compacted the pitch, and the space was outside, and Dalot and Shaw were absolutely brilliant in defending those wide areas. And then Liverpool, I mean, I don't think that Amrabat played a particularly good game, and I'm quite surprised how much praise Mainu is getting. But what they did really well, those two players, was they clogged up the half spaces, and they made it hard for Liverpool to get any decent quality in the box. And when they did, Darwin Núñez just, I don't know what he did. He ran out of batteries or something, started appealing for penalties instead of trying to kick the ball. But I think that it was all right tactically. Our big problem was quality on the break, as it were. We obviously had one moment of quality with Anthony and McTominay combining to release Rasmus Hojlund, and once again he fluffed his lines. And I haven't seen it back, but I think he probably had a very good chance at the end from a Rashford cross as well that he didn't pop in. But it's the attacking quality was what lacked today. The defense and the tactics were all right. I still don't like a man marking system, but we got an away point at Anfield, and that's always a good result.
Yeah, really funny there when you're telling us that McTominay was on Endo. Endo, you know what that means, don't you? Endo.
No.
Someone in the comments.
Is this a sex thing?
No, nothing to do with sex. Yeah, so I just to add to that, I thought we were good. It was better to set up that way. We saw him against Bayern Munich the other day. We sort of camped back and made ourselves difficult to beat. And the same thing again from the opening ball from kickoff. They were on us. They were really trying to put it on us and get the crowd on side and sort of push us back. And I think sometimes you can be comfortable sitting back in a low block, can't you? We saw that under Mourinho when it was sort of that was the main tactic. And I felt over the years, because we've been in the back, we haven't been the best team. We have to be comfortable in those sort of situations. And going to Anfield today, Mr. B, in sitting on the low block and sort of, as Bath Time was saying, just covering all them spaces and defending well, and a lot of good communication and being compact and not allowing them space. You can get comfortable with that. But the only issue I've had this season is a lot of concentration issues where we sort of slip up for a split second and then they score. But it didn't happen today. So do you think we are becoming a good all-round team? Is that what makes a good all-round team? To be able to go to games like this and be comfortable defending?
It does make an all-round team, but I thought we were going to beat Bournemouth. So, I want to see what happens in the next game. And the next game after that, and the next game after that. It can't be just one game. This is the problem with Man United. We say we've had one good game, Chelsea probably for the season, and I'm convinced that Chelsea were poor. So if this is what we're going to be doing moving forward, I have no problem with that. But we have to be trying to create more than we did today. I like the way that he set up. But hopefully when players come back, we have the option to change things. I mean, we knew what the subs were going to be. We probably didn't know what time they were going to come on, but we knew it was going to be Rashford, that Hannibal that were coming on at some stage of the game. The bench is weak, and that's down to injury. So, as I said, I'm happy with the result. I'm glad that the team dug in because we all expected them to get something a lot more than they got today. But I want to see more on Monday. Let this be the start. This is Liverpool's first draw. This is our first draw.
Yeah.
Let there be something more coming from the game. Now, we've got West Ham coming up, and, people are saying that, that might be a hard game. Who knows? But we need to then perform again. I'm not saying go and play as defensive or how we did today, but there's a framework that was put in place today, and hopefully moving forward, they'll stick with it.
Okay. Over to bath time. Bath time, can you just let us know, put up a bit of some data here and some graphics to show the difference today, because the graphics don't lie. And what made us hard to beat today. So with the positional graphics of both Liverpool and Man United Football Club, I hope you guys can see this. And need a bit of explanation as well, just so we've got a bit of understanding of what's going on here, what we're seeing here.
All right, this is a passing network, but it's more about our shape, like in and out of possession. I think that's a really good shape that we've got there. You can see that it's a 4-4-2 block basically with Garnacho, Amrabat, Mainu, and Anthony, and then you've got Hojlund and McTominay as the rest attack. Not talking about the quality of the players on the pitch, but that shape in a defensive situations is exactly what you want to see. You can also see that the space is primarily out wide, and Liverpool have a really weird shape. You can see they've got 4 men on the half space line every time, which means that they'll be quite secure in possession, but they won't really be able to create anything centrally. So they were going to go out wide and come in. And we're nice, we're deep, we're compact, and we're sorry, excuse me. A lot of people have been calling for things like 3-5-2s and stuff recently. You'll always be hampered with the 3-5-2 because you don't have your rest attack, which in this case is McTominay and Hojlund in central areas able to spring out wide. I think that maybe with better players or a bit more coaching, we would have caused Liverpool far more problems with this today. I can see George here say it's a prime bus shape, but this is how you get a platform to win matches at difficult places. And we've seen Miss B, you've seen these passing networks for weeks. We've never been this compact. Like and with
they
so little space.
They're always up all over the place. Yeah,
like this is highly promising. This is the blueprint of how you beat teams, and this is why Liverpool weren't able to cut through us the way we've been cut through all the time. So as much as I don't think that Amrabat and Mainu exerted much influence on the game, just by staying in central areas, not diving in and all this sort of stuff, you make it extremely difficult for teams to beat you. So I'm really happy with this shape. And you can also see the other thing that Liverpool might have been concerned about is that the more observant among you will see that this is Liverpool and United's pass map stop about an hour into the game. When Liverpool made their changes, we finally saw Onana and what he can bring to the team, because he was able to hit direct balls out wide when they didn't have 3 in midfield. They only had the 2. They were playing like a 4-4-2, and we were able to get over them. 4-2-4, yeah. We were able to get over them, and that is why Klopp had to change. So although Onana had what I thought was an erratic game, he keeps me on the edge of my seat wondering what he's going to do next. I saw a lot of tactical options that he brings you, where in away games he can get you out if they try and match you in the midfield, and then having a compact shape means that you deny a lot of good goal scoring chances. Most Liverpools were just silly pop shots or like crosses spooned into the box that Varane and Evans ate up all day. So I think that this is promising for a defensive shape and setup to go to the harder places.
Yeah, most definitely. Just want to add, because all season we've been sort of kind of working with a single pivot in midfield, and you had to credit to the two shapes of our midfield players. That would be Amrabat and Mainu today. Granted, I know Amrabat didn't have the best of games on the ball, and there are some issues there. But I just feel that it gives you a bit more security, especially when you're up against it like this. It would have been suicide, I believe, to go in and leave the midfield wide open. There was a couple of times where the Hungarian guy, who you expect him to be central, like you said, I was thinking this during the game, he was sort of dragging people out, dragging Amrabat out wide, and then it was open up in the middle. There was a one attack in the first half where the Hungarian drifted out wide into the interior space. Amrabat had to go with him, and in that case, it opened up the middle which is, just the defense were there, and it's just, oh my gosh, that's how they do it. That's how they work spaces,
Channel runner.
Yeah. So I was interested in that, watching that, but I have to give credit to the shape today. That was the most important thing. And even though Kobe and, like you say, Amrabat didn't really impact the game in so much respect like that, I felt just keep, like you said, bath time, keeping your position, it makes it harder. And I always say to you, if you're that good as a team, even at Premiership level or Sunday League level, ask a team to play through you. Don't just set yourself up. So you say, here I am, play through me if you're that good. And if you score a goal playing through me, cutthroat, hot knife through butter football, then you have to give credit. But they were resorting to sort of long shots and, really forcing the play towards the end, because we silenced the crowd, got to halftime, 0-0 with that compact shape. And then it looked nervy for them because thinking, oh my God, we could hit them on the break here in the second half. We did have a couple of good opportunities to do that as well. So I want to say thumbs up to the system today, and big up for the $5 here from Nsot. He says, Mr. B.
He's put a bid in for Mr. B. Is that enough?
Oh, good. All right, here we go. A couple comments here. Amrabat was rivaling Tomley as our worst player. Rajiji loves the 3-4-2-1. He said, if you use the 3-4-2-1 when in defensive moments, you can turn it into a 5-2-2-1. Not ideal, but with the players we got, could work, but could also use the 4.
Oh, not a diamond. No way. We
right.
don't know
Can we go back to that a second, the one day? All right, Rajishi, I do really like the fact you're throwing up loads of telephone numbers and talking about formations. It's really good. But the most important thing about all these formations is that they're not just defensive. They're about the ability to score a goal as well. And that comes from something called your resting attack. And in all these ones where you have a 5 at the back, your ability to transition or counter attack is completely nullified because your wide players are too far deep. Like, these are the shapes that you play in the last 10 minutes of a match when you're 2-0 up or 2-1 up or something. None of these are going to get you goals. And the diamond has the same issue where it's far too narrow. Your fullbacks can get pushed back, and they're the ones providing the width. Something entertaining you, Mr. B.
It's the message. Somebody bid $5 and we deserve better say than take it because it ain't gonna get any higher. Sorry, Bath time. It was.
Yeah, well, we'll auction you off for Christmas and see what's the biggest bid we can get.
I'm the size of a gnome, so yeah, I don't take up much space, to be fair. So it might be all right there.
So you know what? In the first half, when you really examine it, we were on the back foot, and we did kind of restrict them. Because I can't recall many sort of clear-cut chances they had. So going into half time, I mean, the manager must have been delighted, especially with the venue, playing at Anfield and being able to resist them for so long. So I think as a player, you're going in, you think, okay, you're going to be motivated, aren't you? You're going to be saying, all right, another 45 minutes of this, boys. We're doing the right things. Keep it up, because there were no mistakes. There's no arguments so much. And I thought the defense and the guys patrolling them in front of the defense as well were really solid. And even Mr. B, I don't know how you feel about this because you were doing the watch along. Anthony, I thought
he worked hard today.
Yeah, the working hard side.
Yeah, he worked hard today. I mean, look, he went past Trent on the outside. He showed him inside and went outside. If that's something that works, use it. It might be one trick, but everybody expects him to go inside. It was so nice to see him do, and he left Trent. He left him. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of positives in Anthony's game. Work rate rise. I mean, I think he always works hard, but I mean, he was putting in tackles today better than Dallo when he was at right back. You know what I mean? So that part of his game, I did enjoy, to be fair. But we didn't buy him for that. We bought him for the other end of the pitch.
But it's important. I mean, at least we have to give him some sort of credit for something here. George Kyle saying here, Bath time, I don't remember a single real clear-cut chance Liverpool had in the entire game. Is that actually true? I can't.
Kanate had a pretty good one in the penalty area.
Yeah, when he did the turn, he kind of did the pirouette and then hit it straight down on Arna's throat, didn't he?
Hey, just to add, oh my God, in the tunnel and on set pieces and corners, Van Dijk and Konate are massive. And I saw McTominay in the tunnel because McTominay, he had the captain's armband on today. But in the tunnel, he was looking around. He was like looking up to Van Dijk. Those guys are huge. And so at set pieces, I think, oh my God, this is going to be a problem for us. Konate and Van Dijk together. There was no one in our side who could, match them for height and power.
I felt Varane did really well at set pieces, and I thought Johnny Evans had a really, really good game as well. Like those two were a fabulous defensive pairing. But in terms of Anthony, I agree with pretty much everything Mr. V has said. It's the quality that he lacks in attacking situations. Yeah. He spanned a chance in the first sort of 15 minutes or something. I don't even know if it was a cross or a shot because his ball striking is awful. And there was a moment where we had a 4-on-3 and he tried a little Travella pass.
Yeah, he should have got out.
Dreadful.
I was screaming. He went to play it to McTominay and the ball should have gone outside to Hojlund. That was me. I was calling the pass to Hojlund on the outside. Yeah.
And then the one time that he gets it right and he plays a decent central ball to McTominay, we get a chance. Yeah. And this is like popping it into Hojlund. And this is the problem with a lot of what we saw today is that because in my view, because of the sort of the high block man marking system that we used, players were always in the wrong position. Able to combine. We're always dealing with bouncing balls playing towards them. And that's something that we've got to get better at. But what is this? But who's Ted Striker?
Airplane.
Oh my God, yeah.
I
haven't seen Airplane, I'm afraid.
Oh, haven't you? Oh look.
Surely you can't be serious.
I know the scene that he's talking about.
Oh, is it the guy from not Lethal Weapon?
Leslie Nielsen spoof.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Brilliant. Michael Hill, that's funny.
Well, that's a very odd analogy, but I'll take it.
It's funny. Sorry.
I think I just think that United sort of this season have had two main problems. One is that they've got the quality ball players on the pitch, like Casemiro and Rashford and Bruno, and absolutely no system. And today they've got the more tactically disciplined players on, like McTominay, Rasmus, and Anthony, and yet the quality isn't there. And then when the quality does come through, which I think happened twice, Rasmus isn't able to finish it off, and it's becoming more concerning, Rasmus, in the Premier League because
do you think? I'm still convinced it's because he's not getting the chances. You expect your strikers to miss. No striker scores every chance they have, but if you're only getting one a game, there's so much pressure on taking that chance. It's like he doesn't know when the next one's coming.
But you know what?
Just to look at Haaland and how many touches he gets in a game.
Yeah, but how much chances does he get now? I understand how much touches, but it's the chances that he can score goals from is more what I'm thinking about.
I think if you have to really think about it, like during the game, like obviously you're not going to get many touches. That chance that our boy Hojlund had today, let's put it straight. He put it onto his right foot, which was the right thing to do, and he had a shot on target with the goalkeeper coming out. Now you could say he could have tried to play it between his legs or slotted it or whatever. But I felt the move was so nice, it was so good, and he can't be too disappointed because he'd done the right thing. Now, someone will turn around and say, that's 13 games now, he hasn't scored a goal. But I'm looking at that chance in a game where he didn't really get sniffed and it opened up and he had a good opportunity and he done the right thing. I'm happy with that. So, and the other thing, as a striker, you're going to be out on the pitch for a long time and you're going to be thinking, right, how am I going to get around Konate? How am I going to get around Van Dijk? What am I going to have to do? And so, like you were just saying there, Mr. B, I think sometimes when you do get the opportunity, you're already pre-thinking, a good striker's already pre-thinking what I'm going to do. Get on my feet, bam, or shape, shoot, cut, bam, or little thing. This is what should be going through his brain. There's one of the best strikers at Man United I've seen was Van Nistelrooy. And the reason I say that is because I've seen him in a game, he'd miss a chance, and then you can see he's calculating, he's thinking, next time I'm going to make sure I'm going to be sharp, and he's going to come alive and do something. These are the best strikers to me in world football, who got the mentals to say, right, that didn't work. Next time I'm going to make it better and be a bit more decisive, you know? I'm not disappointed with Hojlund. I know it was a great chance, but I felt, what more could he have done with
what more has he
you only
got?
get split second.
Because but we've seen no variation in the type of finisher. Like, I'm not a goal scorer, but I've always loved Martial because of all the different things that he can do. Like, he can lob the keeper, he can place it, he can go near post, he can do all these things. Like, Rasmus just struck it poorly straight at the goalkeeper. And
I don't think it was a poor shot. I don't think he struck it poorly though, half time.
Okay.
I think I'm not saying from where he was, I don't know. He couldn't have hit it the other side. So
near post.
Near post. Well, he went near post, didn't he? So he couldn't have hit it across from where he was. So I think he did right. I think that was the best he could have done.
I'm not so sure, because like, he's had 13 games or whatever it is, 14 games in the Premier League, and he's had lots of chances, Mr. V. Like, even in this game, there's one where he's constantly a foot away from scoring. He's getting across his man and being able to get contact on the ball, and it's not going in. And it's fine if it's a one-off game or something. You know, we've all seen players miss big chances, like Andy Cole against West Ham or whatever. But it's the fact that it's going on longer and longer, and he's getting presentable chances. And I agree with JR. I think a top striker buries it, and you know, maybe like maybe we should also look at Garnacho, who didn't really show a killer instinct when he was in behind Trent as well. But I am worried about that boy, because he's reminding me a bit of McTominay and Anthony and himself, where when you need real quality, more often than not, there's not real quality in the attacking sections.
All right. Can I just add, the guy's 20 years old, Bath time. He's just coming into, he hasn't played much top league football. I'm including in the Serie A and Premiership football. I think you have to give him that, his age as well. Stephanie Griffiths, thank you so much. She's asking everyone to press the like button and help the channel grow. It's much appreciated.
Bath time. I just can't agree with you on that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he was at Tottenham, he'd be scoring goals, because Tottenham create chances. My point
he should have scored that chance?
I think he did the best he could have done. He could have scored, but I don't think he did anything wrong with what he did.
Yeah,
he took the ball down, he went out and he smashed it. He smashed it near post.
You know what it is? He's got played in. He's with his first touch. He's taking the ball away from the defender. Get it into position, even though it's on his weaker foot, to shoot. If it was someone like Anthony, he would have tried to touch it onto his stronger foot. And would have been sniped out. So
I think Anthony might score that, to be honest, because he's taken it first time. He would have. He would have tried to pass it with his left foot into the bottom corner.
I'm not biting for that. So I thought, when I looked at the chance again, I thought, well, you've done the right thing. First touch, took it away to the defender, and it was one touch to a shot. It wasn't touch like Amrabat. Amrabat would have had 10 touches before he would have got a shot off there. But it's such a split. What I'm saying is, I'm going back to the point I was trying to make before. When you're not getting a sniff as a striker, you know, right, I've touched the ball, I'm waiting for something to happen, and then someone comes through me or I get pinched. So when I'm in the box, I thought he was good, because I'm thinking you didn't have much time or opportunity. Suddenly you got in the box, and you know in seconds these top centre backs are going to come for you and close you down at least. And he got a shot off and done the right thing. So in a split second, I thought, wow, someone's coming for you. You got a touch in the box. It's opened up for you. Left foot onto right foot, shot, and the keeper's come out right in his face. I thought that was a good move by Hojlund. Great move by Man United to create that chance in the first place. So I know you've gone back and said about his goal record, and there's comparisons to 14 games without a goal or whatever. But at least we've seen the right thing here. We comparing someone like Richarlison. I would be more disappointed if Richarlison was one of our players, because I don't see him doing. I'm seeing Richarlison messing up completely, or not making the right decisions, or losing his head. Rasmus seems to be focused still. And once that goal does come, I think it will free him up and give him a load of confidence. As you know, with strikers, that's what happens with them. So I'm quite happy about that chance. I thought it was the best chance in the game, and I thought showed a lot of quality in that split second, and with a small amount of time, he had to get a shot off.
I thought Garnacho's chance was a better chance, to be honest.
Can we talk Garnacho's chance? Just remind me, because I need you to talk, because otherwise I'll forget.
Long ball from the right-hand side. Trent, a little bit too far forward. Garnacho takes it, and he either hesitates too much or doesn't hesitate enough, and Trent just gets his foot on it, but he's about to pull the trigger and roll it into the bottom right-hand corner. Like, really, a really, really good chance.
I'm still struggling. So do you think that was a better chance than Rasmus?
No, I prefer Rasmus
so.
as well.
Okay.
I think so, because he's basically one-on-one with the goalkeeper in front of a defender. And what Rasmus has sort of done is he's just done standard academy stuff of, like, you know, you're saying he's done all the right things, but these players are coached for all of that. And I think you need a bit more improvisation in those moments. I think you should take it first time in his strong foot. But I'm not a goal scorer.
All right.
And this is probably why.
The Rasmus thing's brought a lot of comments. Do you mind if I just quickly go through them?
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about the Hojlund curse, went 14 games without a goal. The longer this ban run goes on, the more it's going to be an issue for Hojlund. And it's already a big issue. We deserve better, says Rashford had some good moments on the left of attack when he came on. It's the finishing showing how poor his confidence is at the moment. So he's attributing that to the confidence, lack of confidence. Bath time, Rasmus had less than a second to take the chance. That's UK Strange. A top striker buries that. Come on, guys. That's from JR. Given Losa saying here, we played good today. Please, no negative comments. Ten Hag set up the team okay. Bruno would have killed them. We're missing through balls.
And this is, I mean, I love Bruno, right? But the one thing with Scott McTominay is he plays to managers' instructions. Now, I wonder if Bruno would have been there to be receiving the balls that Scott McTominay was. You know, we had the pass map and the defensive shape. I'm not sure Bruno would have done that, because there was times in the game where they let Alisson have the ball. They just let him have the ball. Bruno would have gone, and they would have just dinked the ball straight over his head and played through. So Bruno's a good player, but does he have the discipline to play under Ten Hag is maybe a question that I'm going to be looking to be asking between now and the end of the season.
Okay. Interesting. So look, we had our chances. I think did it remind you of a Mourinho setup today, where we sort of relied and sat back, respected the opposition, and tried to hit them on breaks?
Mourinho gave the blueprint of how you sort Liverpool out. And I don't know if you remember this, but he stuck that massive tree, Fellaini, on Trent Alexander-Arnold and banged it to him. And Rashford got 2 goals in 20 minutes off that. And I was wondering if we were going to do a similar thing today and stick McTominay on like as the outball and bang it up to him. But I think that Ten Hag he's more of a sort of philosopher than Jose was, as opposed to a pragmatist. And that's kind of how he wants to play. He wants to make it difficult to build up from the back. We didn't get many turnovers. Our press was much more composed than it is normally today. And I looked at the Jules map as well, which I've got.
Let's have a look.
We won we won much more than I thought we did, in particular McTominay.
Okay, so the yellow bar is
Jules won.
Jules won. Okay, so
and blue is Jules lost.
So the top one would say there's 4 Jules that McTominay lost, and he won 5 out of 12.
No, he won 12.
So what's the 5?
He won 12.
He won 12 out of 16. The sort of chevron bit is aerial.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So looking through,
and you can see that Varane didn't lose a duel in the air. Delo
He was
didn't.
immense today. He was immense
Yeah.
today, to be fair.
And then you look at Anthony and Salah, and right at the bottom. So you can see that Anthony had 17 duels, lost 11. And Shaw also managed to lose a hell of a lot of duels, despite marking Salah, who lost a lot of duels as well. Amrabat losing a lot of duels.
Where's Kobe on there? Is Mainoo on there?
Yes. He had
win.
8 duels, won 4, lost 4.
And lost 2 in the year, yeah?
Yeah.
Just to say, regardless of duels, I thought Kobe just so calmed things down. We
on the
we
ball,
were really
I love him.
struggling, weren't we, at some points. And I think sometimes when the ball went to his feet, he would just make a simple short pass, nearest man, percentage pass, and comfortably, create something to pass out. Some people in situations, you crash it out, get it into the terraces, that kind of thing. Ball comes to him, touch, good, play it short, first man, and we can play out. I think he's so talented in that respect. He's putting a lot of players to shame who are older than him. Amrabat, for example, McTominay, I felt. Just going back to the point I was trying to make before the show, there's times like, obviously we're under pressure, but when you're under pressure like that, if you're comfortable in those situations, you should be able to play out. So with someone like we're talking about Kobe, nice and comfortable, get it out, off, pass, calm, we're all nice and calm. And it spreads throughout the team once he starts playing at that, because you think you start passing to it more, him more, because we're going to start to play, he's going to stick, and we're going to start building up like that.
Do you know who I thought also had a very... there were 2 other players that stood out to me as being extremely good on the ball. One I wasn't expecting, which was Delo. Like he came...
team and half turn, like in the middle.
Yeah, like he did it 2 or 3 times. I didn't think he had the quality to play inside, but I'd have given him man of the match if he hadn't got sent off.
I said before the game, before we started the show, I don't care about the red card. He's my man of the match.
Did you? I wasn't there for that, boys. I thought Delo was good. And also, for Rasmus's chance, it came from a really good ball from Johnny Evans, who I thought
is that the one into Delo who turned? It was like 3 passes. There was like 3 passes and we were in. Was that the whole move for the chance?
Yeah, it was Evans to Anthony who got it, passed it inside, combined with McTominay to release Rasmus, and it was one of these brief flashes which Mainoo was doing as well, that showed that there is something there, but there's got to be more quality on the ball. And I agree with you, Mainoo's absolutely great. Like everything about him is shocking for a guy that young, and I'd like to see him on the us develop a way to get him on the ball more, because
tell them, bro.
Well, this is the problem. When you play that compact, you can't have Mainoo and Amrabat on the ball. You've got to go out wide because everyone's sort of congested. And when Delo was receiving the ball on the half turn in the last sort of 15 or 20 minutes, Mainoo had moved into his position in terms, we've talked about this before, him going to right centre back in order to progress the ball. And I think that if we can stop putting McTominay in positions where the ball is bouncing and he's got to play volleys on the half turn things, which he can't really do, and we get Anthony to be much more consistent, we've got a better chance. And it's so disappointing that Delo is now out for 2 or 3 games, because
how many games would it be?
Maybe 2.
Was it? It was 2 yellows.
2 yellows.
So is that one match?
One.
I think that's 1. But then they might say, "Oh, 1 was for dissent." They might come down and say, "Oh, it's an extra card for dissent."
It's ridiculous that sending off.
Why are you going to be disappointed?
Why? Because I want to see Delo and Mainoo in the same team more. Now we know that Delo can play inside, and we can get more space to Mainoo to progress the ball down the right hand side. I'd like to see that a lot more. But Wan-Bissaka's not going to be able to do what Delo was doing today. So it disappoints me that every time we get a team out that looks good, there are enforced changes. And now we've got Bruno coming back. And I don't know where Bruno fits in the team, but he has to fit somewhere.
Bruno, for me, I would say to him, bruv, you're a good player, but you've seen against Bayern Munich, against Liverpool today, it's about the system. It's about the system for us first. First of all, let's stay in the game, and before we start, trying to be expansive and start to play. I know it sounds negative, but I would be saying that to him. He has to do the same job as the guys did today in midfield.
Would you be happy with his Bayern performance, where he played much deeper?
Yeah, a lot more happy because his position, not necessarily like the greatest performance ever.
Yeah, but
the shape, his positioning was good.
See, my problem is, I think the only supply line that we're going to have to Hojlund, it's not going to come from wide. It's going to come centrally. So I would rather Bruno was playing closer to Hojlund in regards to he's the only one in the team who creates anything. I would rather have him further ahead. I understand his work rate and him getting on the ball, but I think for Hojlund himself, because he's not going to get a pass from. It's going to be Shaw. Shaw's going to assist him before Garnacho does.
Well,
Dalot's going to assist him before Anthony does.
I think the most important thing, we're looking at the league. We were eighth. I think we might still be eighth or seventh, whatever. I only got a point today, but that's not good enough. So going forward, it's good to see that we've adapted a little bit and showed a bit more, not too one-dimensional with our tactics all the time, because that's how you get beat and whooped so badly. It's a positive result today against the Liverpool side, who I felt tried their best. They were working hard, out there. But I just feel that you have to manage games better and go into games managing the players better, giving them a better role. Bathtime once again said something about Mainu. Obviously, we're talking about the quality on the ball, but his understanding for the team when Dalot went into sort of inverted play in position, he would drop off into the centre back or right centre back position. You understand what I'm saying? And do you think that I didn't see Ten Hag shouting instructions or the number 2 shouting instructions to do that? He just does it automatically. And I'd want to see Bruno. That's what we are saying about Bruno, because there's Zoe Media House is in the house, and we are talking Bruno just quickly. I want to see, because Bruno wasn't in today. People will say, "Oh, we don't need him," and you're right there, Mr. B, saying Bruno does create a lot of our chances. But all we want to do is stay in the game first of all before we make improvements. That's the main thing. We're like any manager going to a team, you start from the back, you start defending first, and then you build, and then you start going forward. Once you've got the defensive structures dealt with, then you can go forward and start building on your attacks. So I think throughout a game, you can say to Bruno, start as you did against Bayern Munich, just sit back, don't let them play through us. But then as the game develops, as we saw today with Liverpool, they got frustrated and things opened up for us. And that's when you have to use your game management as a player and player manager as Bruno. That's when you want to sort of strike, and be decisive, be clutch in a way, in that respect. Everyone says Bruno doesn't play well in big games. Today was a big game. If he would have played reserved, and then it would have been him providing these chances when we had those chances later in the game, then you could say that's clutch.
But we might not have been in the game.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And is Ten Hag brave enough to keep us in the game, to bring Bruno on to win us the game? That's a proper manager. That's what you do. You keep yourself in the game. If you feel that you're going to get beat, you have something, then you have the weapons to. And that was my thing today. We didn't have any weapons where we could say, we could change the game. We didn't have, all right, it wouldn't have been Martial. I'm just mentioning names, not saying that Martial would have changed the game. We didn't have Martial. We didn't have Casemiro, who could have come on earlier for the 2 guys on the yellow cards. You know what I mean? We just don't have the squad depth to keep on to make the changes. Liverpool made changes. Boom, change, boom, change, boom, change, boom, change, boom. We knew we was making 2.
Do you think, Mr. B, that what we might be seeing is that when Casemiro and Martinez come back, and we've got a bit more sort of stability in ball progression, that then we might get more out of Bruno playing in central areas. But at the moment, with what we've got, this is probably the most secure platform we have to build on. Yeah,
I agree with that. The only issue half-time is that Casemiro wasn't great. We need to remember, this was not Casemiro from last season. Casemiro came back and he wasn't great. He wasn't great for us. And Martinez, I feel Martinez was playing with a broken foot from the start of the season. So I would allow him. But if they can set up a system without these players and add their level of technical ball ability and the way that they play, their ability, then I think it does benefit us most
But
definitely.
Can you get Casemiro more mobile? Can you get Bruno not to play
No,
like
but
a crackhead?
but if he has, let's be honest, I think Kobe Mainoo needs to be starting most games. But if he's starting with Casemiro, and we've got those two, and then you've got Amrabat who can come on for either of those players, we've got cover. And I think Casemiro will bring out a different level in Mainoo. You know, you're playing with a World Cup winner. Let's be honest. You know, he's only going to learn from him. You know, and at that age, I mean, he's listening to he played okay today. So, you know, and he's playing against Amrabat, who we all feel Amrabat
against.
Yeah, you know, it's hard. It's hard. You know, so I think it will improve. And then Bruno is the one who Bruno's a free spirit, isn't he? And the team, we don't need a team. We don't need a free spirit at the moment. If he can be as disciplined as Scott is and be in the positions that Scott is when Scott is receiving the football, we have no problem. But I'm just not sure he's going to be. Scott says central the whole game. That's why I want my number 10 to play. I want him to play central. You know, but Bruno is here, there, right back, left back. I understand he runs. But sometimes you don't always have to run. Sometimes you can walk. You know,
Do you
watch the
think
game.
Eriksen might be the one to come in and help Mainoo more in games where we'll have a lot of possession?
Imagine that. Imagine the two of them
Yeah,
in midfield.
yeah.
We had Amrabat and Mainoo today. I think between Eriksen and Mainoo, you know the ball retention is going to be there. The cleverness, the play, the simple dictating of play. I think that's really important.
Yeah, but you're talking about are you talking about Mainoo with Eriksen? We're talking about. I think you talk about Eriksen instead of Bruno.
No, I'm talking about Mainoo next to Eriksen. Like we saw last season, like Eriksen played that role a lot with Casemiro and McTominay, and when we're in games where we had a lot of the ball, he was fantastic. It was just his lack of sort of like natural defensive instincts and the fact he doesn't have like running power. He runs a huge amount, Eriksen, but he's not able to close distances as explosively as. Well, I was going to say Amrabat, but Amrabat is also pretty one-paced.
There's pros and cons to this. I think if you have, I'm getting back now to like a midfield pairing with someone slightly ahead of them, rather than having 2 8s. Because I know you need that runner, but I would like to see if we're in a position like we were today, Eriksen and Mainoo could work for me, because the disadvantage you just said about running power, people ghosting him and running through him, maybe not strong enough or whatever, even though he does run. The positives would be we'd have more possession, and we could start. You know, they get out their feet and we'd play it left back, right, centre back. You know, a wide man, whatever. It's like they can do that. They can pop it around. That's the hub of the play, and I think they've got the quality to give us an advantage. It's just that they're getting the balance right about pairings or midfield threes and think, what do you need and what we're trying. First of all, what we're trying to achieve with this, because you've got Mount, he's brought in Mount, and he's got Bruno and McTominay playing as maybe 8s. So the 6, we've got Mainoo, Casemiro, and maybe Amrabat. So what are we trying to achieve? What's the best combination there if we're trying to play the 2 8s and the 6? I just think you have to be reserved in certain times of the game. One of those 8s has to become a 6 and drop off a little bit, as we did today, respecting the opposition. And then we build into the game. We need to grow into games in some respects. So I think Eriksen with Mainoo would be a nice combination, would suit me to the ground, because that way we can play out. Because just again, today, in the first half against Liverpool, they started from the first minute, they were on us, on our asses, and we couldn't get out, and we were struggling. Look how many kicks that we tried to play out from the back, and ended up with Onana playing it off the field and thing. I just think if we build up better with better quality in midfield, quality on the ball. Eriksen's definitely got quality, and Mainoo, as I was saying earlier, is a born natural in that respect. So I think that's a good combination.
Bayern did the same thing to us some Monday, where they instantly went at us and things. But I think the problem with a lot of this midfield talk is that you have to kind of like decide what type of number 10 that you want. Like in the last sort of like 10 years, we've moved away from players that everyone loves, like Rui Costa and stuff like that, who would be drifting into pockets and working the lines. Now, the system creates the chances. Like pressing is the new passing, as the great Sean Dyche said. And I think that if you're playing Mainu and Eriksen, you're going to need a McTominay or a Mount in front of them for the disciplined running, for hitting the channels, for being better in the press. I think that what we're going to see is we're going to have to see Bruno drop deeper to help up with build-up play and remain disciplined for us to go forward. And maybe we can look at upgrading McTominay later, but at the moment, he's probably the number 10 that suits the system we're playing the best, where he can win the ball high up the pitch and he can run channels. And like, look, I've
don't.
hang on, just one last point, Mr. B. I've also got increased or decreased scoring as a receiver. And you can see that no matter what everyone is saying, statistically, McTominay didn't decrease scoring, our chances of scoring as a receiver at any point in the match.
Right.
And this is...
It's just, I'm struggling to read this. So once again, if we're looking at McTominay, there's no
blue
passes, set pieces. How do I read this? I'm sorry.
Okay, so if it's blue, it means that they've made a poor decision when receiving, and so they've taken a bad touch, or they've moved inside or outside, and the expected threat has decreased. When McTominay gets the ball, he increases the chances of us scoring a goal in that position. And this is, I know everyone, I know Mr. B is probably raging. I can't see because we've got "We Deserve Better's" comment down there, which probably reflects what Mr. B is thinking. But we use statistics to take away from our bias and stuff like that. And McTominay in the 10 role has actually done a pretty good job today, because he's done what you want, where he's increased your chances of scoring and he's won a hell of a lot of balls up the pitch. And although Bruno, Eriksen, all these other players might excite us more, in terms of the system, we need someone more like McTominay in that 10 than we do Bruno. I know it's ridiculous, Mr. B, but this is science, isn't it?
Well done. I'm not having Scott.
I know you're not having it, but like, look, disagree with the data or disagree with the opinion.
You will never, till the day you die, Bath. If we live to be 557 Bath time, you're never going to convince me that he should.
All right. Well, on your 558th birthday, maybe you'll agree. Now, look, I am actually pretty shocked by these stats as well. As I thought McTominay had a decent game if his main role was to stop them playing through the pivot, but. The point is, I think that we've seen enough of Bruno over the years to know that whatever it is, he's not good enough to stop players playing through their pivot. This is one of the things I always bring up about Martial.
He's a creator, though.
Sorry?
He's a creator, though.
Yeah, and that is the point, Mr. B, is that in the system we're playing, the number 10 is no longer a creator. So where is the spot for Bruno?
So. You're actually saying bomb Bruno, play McTominay as the 10, and when McTominay gets a chance to play somebody in, we hope that he makes the right pass.
Well, I mean, he's made the right pass like a couple of times. He's done Hojlund against Copenhagen. He got Hojlund in again today.
Man.
Lord, those are examples. What I'm saying, Mr. B, is I don't know what the right blend of the midfield is, because
fair enough.
We need a player like McTominay in the 10. McTominay's two big problems are that I'm still not convinced that he has the necessary range of passes in the final third. Like,
I'm agreeing with Mark. Sorry, I'm agreeing with Mark Gemini. If I had the option, that's who I'd be going with at number 10.
Maybe that's
Mark
it
as well.
Yeah,
that's who I would be playing.
Maybe that's the answer. But what do you do with the other two players? Because we've got Bruno, Ericsson, Mainu, and Casemiro. I don't know what the best blend is there.
All right. I think, looking at players, Bruno is a very good quality player. I just think you have to find a way to put him in the team. For me, there's no midfield three without Bruno, in my opinion, because of what he's already done at the club. He's the captain. He hardly gets injured. He creates a lot. I just think you have to tone his game up a little bit to the frustrating things that frustrate a lot of players and fans about trying to Hollywood ball all the time, or not putting his foot in sometimes, or whatever it takes. Or not. My main beef with him is about positioning for the team. That's the most important thing. It's all right running, but if you're running back because you haven't got a position, as we've seen in recent weeks with games where we've seen him chasing back, I just want him to sort out his position. So as a manager, I'm not having to go to the manager, but as a manager, that's what I would be working on with Bruno. Because I'd say, first of all, he's got the quality. He has to be in the team, in my opinion. And I know people can say other things as well. We're talking about McTominay. We're talking about everyone's got faults. Everyone's got faults. But me, Bruno has to be the first name on the team sheet in midfield if we're playing those three-man midfield.
Does it have to be midfield?
Beyond that, I think he has. If it's three-man midfield, Bruno has to be in there. That's what I'm saying to him. Be more reserved. Zico, he had a comment up there just a minute ago. He's got a guy, Zico, called who's the Latin guy you've got Zico playing for your club, and you adapted his game. He's a number 10, but you put him in a midfield position, holding midfield position, and he was a magnificent player. He's got all the flair, all the tricks, and everything else. But you dropped him from playing high up the pitch. You started playing and getting involved in the build-up, and he's been a magnificent. It's a masterstroke for you. I think Gio, that's the guy. Yeah, there you go. Gio, fantastic young player. He plays for my brother's team. Outstanding number 10. You give him the ball. He's got it all. Everything. You'd think, why isn't the boy not pro? But it wasn't coming off. So what my brother did, he dropped him into the midfield three deeper. And it was like a revelation. It made the team play better. And he was disciplined enough. He respected my brother enough to play that role and for the benefit of the team. And now they're in the semi-final of the London Cup from that, So I think as players, you have to learn to adapt your game. We've seen a lot of look at Prelo, for example. He was at AC when he was started his career. He was a number 10. And he dropped off and played a brilliant role as a sort of what do you call it? A quarterback sort of position.
Yeah, it's late 30s.
Goals as well. So I think Bruno, start to develop your game like that. Start to come back, play for the team, and don't worry about doing all the business up at the high end of the pitch.
Right, but Omondi, do you think that we could look at Bruno for two positions we haven't really seen him in? One is left wing, where he'll be able to deliver quality into the box, and maybe as a false nine.
Yeah, we've seen in those positions, but I would say, do you remember Paul Pogba? Now, people soon forget, Pogba, they trash him. But he was someone, when he was at Juve, he could play in that position off the left, And Ole, I think, got him playing in that position a couple of times for us when Rashford or Martial wasn't available. Or when they were available, he played him there instead because it sticks. And I would call that a wide advanced midfielder. Or a wide, what do you call it? A wide
position you're making up, yeah?
No, you don't call him
a wide playmaker. Is probably
a wide playmaker. That's the one. That's what I was looking for. Wide playmaker, because he's not a winger, but sometimes you need that in the side. And if you go and look at what Tadic was doing for Ajax under Ten Hag as well, he was the same thing. He was a wide playmaker. So I'll get the thumbs up for me for Bruno playing in that position, and also as a false nine. We've seen it. He's played it under Ole. He was playing up there as a false nine. He was the guy. Sometimes when we take off the striker or Ronaldo came off, he would be the guy leading the line almost as a false nine. That's opposite. So he's capable of doing that. But for me,
this is my issue, Omondi.
Go on.
Is that I don't like Bruno's defensive attributes centrally, and I think that that if all right, if you wanted to scrap McTominay and put Mount in, I think Mount, Mainu, and Casemiro is probably our most technically secure 3 players. If we want to get the best out of Mainu and get ourselves up the pitch nice and compact, the way we did against Bayern, for example, and how we played today, I wonder if we need to get Bruno out of that midfield to stop his silliness, because I don't think we can get his silliness out of him. And I think that with this system that we're playing now, where the number 10 isn't that creative and it's more about running and pressuring high up the pitch, I wonder how, because I agree with you. I think that Bruno is a player we need in our team to get the best out of everyone. But I'm not convinced that he should be in central areas where discipline is what you need. I think that if he's a much better player than Amrabat, for example, but if you put Bruno in Amrabat's position today, I think we would have lost the game. Yeah. And I'm wondering what we do with Bruno and Rashford, because it's looking to me that they're going the same way as De Gea, where they have obvious qualities, but then they don't really sort of fit the team, and they're on so much money that they're problems.
Mr. B, stroking your wise beard. What are you thinking?
I'm just thinking that's going to have to be something for another show. But we've got some topics, and we've got the 3-man midfield. We've got what Bath Time just said just now. Will they get back? Will they get back into the team? They may well be. You know, the game has probably brought up a lot more questions than answers, which is good. I mean, we're not the manager, so we probably don't have to deal with them like he does. But there's a lot of little things that happen today. Players in certain positions that you think, is this person going to improve it? Is that person going to improve it? It's going to be interesting. And the fact that we're going to be on 1 game a week is going to make it even more.
All right. A couple of comments here. I just want you guys to tackle. We Deserve Better says, McTominay isn't that special, that we need to create a role for all his deficiencies. And George Kyle came back with, we deserve better. That's the best comment of the stream. So are we making an exception for McTominay for all his deficiencies by trying to find a position for him where he'd be more effective, but really he's letting down the team?
I mean, I wouldn't say that McTominay is letting down the team. He's been like one of the better performers since we've had to sort of turn things around. I think that the issue is that McTominay is the best suited for that position in both sort of like in winning his duels, in being disciplined, and in scoring goals. The problem with Scott is receiving the ball and playing the final ball. In recent games, we've seen more and more evidence that he's all right at receiving the final ball. Like, he's okay at sticking people through. We saw it today with Hojlund. We've seen assists and so on. The problem is him receiving the ball. And when you look at what he got today, and I'm thinking back to the Bournemouth game where Reguilon played a suicide ball into the middle of the pitch, I think that it's probably a product of that we're not compact enough, and that McTominay can't just like chest it down or knock it back. And when he was doing that today, Amrabat is also dreadful at receiving the ball from all angles. So I think that in terms of sort of McTominay's role, when we get our better ball players back, I think that's more of a time to examine it, because if most of the balls that you're receiving are from Amrabat or Anthony, everyone's going to look pretty bad, to be honest. So I'm still undecided if because McTominay's got to do something else to become elite, and it's nothing to do with receiving the ball. It's about a midfield pressing trap, but we can get into that another week.
Big up to the realist Cavs. He's saying here, Man United going forward must build a team around Mainu. Mainu is the general. I like where you're going with that. Really do. We talked about the midfield 3. Obviously, we're trying to sort out that problem and make us harder to beat, as we were today. Good result, 0-0 at Anfield, and we move on, don't we? More games to come. It's going to be a really busy holiday period, and you can make sure you tune into the Man United Agenda and all the watch-alongs and all the post-match shows and all the shows throughout the week that we'll be bringing to you. Make sure you press that alarm button as well, and press the like. There's 25, 30 people watching today. Appreciate that, guys. It's a Sunday evening. It's dark. Settle down. Have some Sunday roast or whatever you're doing, and thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to sign out. We'll be back tomorrow, no doubt, at 9 p.m. Every day of the week, 9 p.m. The hardest working podcast out here, for sure. Big up JR, and obviously, just quickly, man of the match. My one would be Dallo, even though he got sent off. Anyone else want to just drop it before we sign out? Man of the match.
Varane.
Immense, wasn't he? Imagine him and Maguire, huh? Anyway,
does Maguire get back in the team on Monday after that?
Good shout. Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's enough from us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We're going to sign out, and appreciate you, Mr. B. Done a lot of overtime today. Wicked watch along, and we'll be back on Monday at 9 p.m. Good night.